Well, hey there, Grace Church. It is Pastor Tom, March 10th. I wanted to come to you really briefly and share with you some of the upcoming changes to our COVID-19 policies for worship on Sunday mornings. As our communities begin to open up more, weather warms up, more people get vaccinated over the next course of the next few weeks. We know that that's encouraging many of us to continue to kind of maybe try to move back towards some level of normality. And so we want to be, as a pastors, be thinking through those things. We recognize that there are people who have varying convictions on this, whether or not this is timely or not. And our elders have tried our best not to enter into those tensions, but just try to mitigate for the holistic needs of our church from the middle, and recognize that we want to love everybody on all spectrums here, because we believe this is a liberty issue and it's a wisdom issue depending on where you are in your life right now, okay? And so we wanted to share with you a couple of things. Presently, we divide the church up into three categories, three shepherd groups, and one shepherd group is assigned to the fellowship hall each week, and the other two worship in the sanctuary together in order to space out, and also in order to provide a little bit more of an environment where we have some social distance and whatnot. We currently do not require masks, but we do recommend them, and that policy will continue in a sense. But of course, we're not policing that. But here's what we are going to do moving forward on April 4th, Easter Sunday. Okay, everything that we're in right now stays in effect until April 4th on Easter Sunday. We are going to move from that framework to a new one. We're going to open up the sanctuary a little bit more, and it'll still be a mask recommended but not required space. And we know that there's probably a good portion of our church that's probably very comfortable doing so, while at the same time we have several in our church who probably really feel like they need a more restricted space, and even a mask required space. We've been in discussions with some of our families at home who have been fellowshipping and watching online, and ways that we can maybe provide a space for them, for you, so that it's safe and you're able to continue carrying on with the responsibilities you have. Some of you have family members who are very sick right now, and you need to care for them, and you're trying to do what you feel is best to make sure that you don't spread something to them. We have folks who are in different jobs who need to be careful of that as well. So with all of that said, we're going to move the fellowship hall live stream area to a mask required. That starts April 4th, mask required fellowship. And it'll be a time when you come in, anyone who's in that room needs to be wearing a mask. And it is a time where it's a space where, one, those folks who may want to re-engage on Sunday mornings can go to, but also for those who may feel like you still want some social distancing, a little bit more social distancing than you might get in a sanctuary, as well as a space where you feel like, hey, man, I'd rather be in a space where more people are masked up. We want to provide that for you as best as we're able to do so. And so we're encouraging you to take advantage of that if you're in one of those two categories. But as it stands, that will start on April 4th. Now, let me just say a couple of things to the whole church as it relates to these things. In this time of our life of our church, we've obviously been tested and challenged during this past year. And we have been so thankful about the way our churches love one another during this time. And we're continuing to ask you to go the extra mile for one another. And so here's a few things that you can be doing as we move into this next phase on April 4th. After morning worship, we still want you to take all your fellowship outside. The weather's getting nice, and we want you to do that fellowship out there so that the whole body, even those who are in the fellowship hall who feel comfortable doing so, can go outside and fellowship with one another and reconnect with their church brothers and sisters, okay? No hanging out in the sanctuary, no hanging out in the fellowship hall, no hanging out in the hallways, and of course, unless weather is prohibited. It prohibits that to be the case, okay? So that's number one. Number two, we want you to really do your best to reach out to one another often and have impromptu outdoor gatherings as the weather continues to warm up. This will be a great way to reconnect with some of your brothers and sisters across all spectrums here, okay? And number three, again, if you venture down to the fellowship hall after Sunday school, or during the worship time, you must mask up to love and care for those folks who are going to be using that space in that manner, okay? Again, all this begins on April 4th. Now, one thing that will happen on April 4th that's not going to be happening after that, it's just for Easter Sunday only, is we're going to offer two services due to space issues, 9 a.m. and 10:30. Both of those services will have the same format. Sanctuary is going to be more open with face masks, optional, as well as the fellowship hall will be mask required. And we feel like that's going to be the best way to care for our church and also our guests who may come visit with us on Easter Sunday. Okay. So, guys, I hope you receive this with love and with sensing in your eldership a sense, a desire to be discerning about how to go forward with this. And we're asking you to join us in loving and going and extending, going the extra mile with one another in these days to come. Okay? So I hope we'll see you guys on Sunday for worship. And it's going to be a great time for us to be together. But until then, April 4th, Easter Sunday, big changes coming. And if you have any questions about this, contact me or one of the elders, and we'll be happy to help. All right? Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.